Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester.
Thank you, Louisa. Welcome. For over 150 years, ours has been a church of open minds and loving hearts. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, and your identity are welcome here. During the service, we invite you to light a chalice or candle at your home, and if you're watching on the premiere on YouTube, you can chat along with others during the service. And do you know who we're so grateful today for the music?
I don't know.
Joe Mish and Rose Mish.
Yay!
Yay! They're going to be playing music, and we're so grateful for everybody who's been doing music and stories and meditations. We're glad to have everyone participate. And beyond the service, you can stay connected with our online coffee hour, Sundays at 11:15, or our Wednesday forums at 6:30. This week is a State of the Church with your board leaders talking about how we're doing church in these times, staying connected, updates on the pledge drive and the annual meeting. I invite you to come for this important conversation with your board leaders who've been doing wonderful leadership during this time. So 6:30 Wednesday night. And what is today, Louisa?
Maypole Parade!
The Maypole Parade. We're having a special invitation today. So 12 to 2 at the church this Sunday, this afternoon. You can join us at the church, and families have been decorating the lower parking lot with chalk, and the Maypole is up atop Walden Hill. So you can drive through the art, and you can come up and drive around the Maypole, and we'll socially distance wave and say hello. There'll be some friendly faces placed around there. So we invite you to come this afternoon, drive by safely and see the art and enjoy the sunshine out with your church. So today between 12 and 2 or any time after that, we invite you to stop by the church. And we are so glad to hear from Stephanie Podolki as well about the Maypole tradition in today's service. And in the words of the Universalist and minister of this church in the 1870s, the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, may our faith in humanity and our message of good cheer and hope light our way.
It's good to be together.
Happy Maypole Sunday.
Working from home now for over 6 weeks, with no clear idea of when this will change. During those first few weeks, I felt unsettled and focused on all that I was losing, including plans to gather with friends for dancing and playing and singing. And sometimes, truth be told, I'm still there. but I've also been trying to focus on the threads that are connecting us. The friend who's posting a tune on Facebook every day for all of us to enjoy. The sharing of face masks and fancy fabrics, or simply the noting of a beautiful sunset. Instead of weaving strands of color on a maypole, neighbors have been posting hearts on windows, deliberately visiting each other from a safe distance, picking up groceries, and listening to each other's stories. Recipes from long ago are making an appearance. Letters are being written. Phone calls are being made. I know I've video chatted with my parents more in the last month than probably the last year or two. For our congregation, Maypole Sunday has traditionally been a time when we've gathered to celebrate the warming weather and the weaving of our lives together. We can still do that. We're a creative congregation, and I believe that we'll find new ways to connect and to even thrive through these times of change. As an example, I look at Minnesota Public Radio, who's offering Bring the Sing Home on Friday evenings, inviting everyone across the state to sing together just for a moment in time. Through words, art, music, sharing, and listening, we can celebrate our connections. Often the strongest and most important threads, those connecting heart to heart or soul to soul, can't always be seen or touched. But I believe that we are stronger together. So my challenge for myself is to work on building those bonds. I challenge you to reach out and do that too.
This is the Unitarian Universalist Church. This is the Church of the Flaming Chalice. This is the Church of the Open Mind. This is the Church of the Loving Heart, where friends come together and share.
That's so much. Oh.
Hi friends! Isn't it nice to have the sun back out? It has been cold and rainy earlier this week, but now today it's Maypole Sunday, and because of that, we have a special guest reader today, Miss Stephanie Podolki.
So let me show you this little box. Can you see this little box? And inside this little box, let's see if I hold it up like this, you can see there are five little people. Can you see how small they are? This is a little box called a worry box. And these little dolls, let me hold one up for you. You can see how very small they are. These little dolls are called worry dolls. So people all over the world worry. Everybody worries, but worrying a lot is not good for us. And so what people in South America do is they whisper all their worries to these little dolls, and the little dolls promise to keep them, and the little dolls go back into this little box, and they stay there. And when the person is ready, they can open the box and take out their worries, or they can say, I don't worry about this anymore. And so you can say to the little people, please stop worrying about that for me. And I chose a book to read to you called Worries Go Away. So it starts out like this. There's a place where I go. This is the little girl talking now. There's a place where I go when things make me sad. There's a place where I go when good turns to bad. You can't get there by bike. You can't reach it by phone. The place where I go is a world of my own. A world of my own is inside my head, where no one can reach me, where no words are said. In a world of my own, there's no one but me. It's the place I escape to. It's the place I feel free. At first, when I get there, there are flowers and trees, there's birdsong and blue sky, there's honey and bees. There are ice cream cakes to eat, and there's cola to drink. There are benches to sit on and places to think. It's pretty near perfect. There's fun to be had. But after a while, it begins to feel bad. The worries I take there begin to take hold. They give me the shivers. They make me feel cold. My worries grow larger. They play on my mind. They start to play tricks of the scariest kind. They turn into monsters that circle and prowl, that bellow and cackle, that grizzle and growl. Oh, don't they look terrible? Oh. The blue sky above me turns black as deep space. I turn and I run, but the worries give chase. They won't let me lose them. They won't let me go. I'm beginning to panic. I'm starting to slow. I stagger. I stumble. I trip and I fall. I climb to my feet with my back to a wall. Oh, my fingers find something. 4 panels or more, 2 hinges, a handle. It feels like a door. There's a door in the darkness. It's too black to see. It's a door with a keyhole, minus a key. I peer through the keyhole, my eyes open wide. People who love me are gathered outside. They've been trying to reach me. They've knocked and they've knocked, but the door to my world has always been locked. I stare at the door. The door stares at me. Suddenly I realize I am the key. If I open my heart to my family and friends, my worries might go and my troubles might end. I push the door handle and push from my side. My world fills with light as the door opens wide. Fingers reach forward to ruffle my hair. I'm greeted with kindness by people who care. I feel so much better, not lonely or down. And as for my worries, they've up and left town. The next time I'm troubled, there's a place I will go, not a world of my own, but to someone I know. This little girl dealt with her worries. She found out there were lots of people waiting right on the other side of that door. She just had to open it and tell them she was worried, and they were there to love her.
Thank you, Miss Stephanie, for reading that great story today. We really, really appreciate you coming to help, and you'll be hearing from her a little bit later in the service as well. Hope to see you all at the Maypole Parade.
We are in different places, but we are still together, and we gather in a virtual way as we continue to create a place of communal caring and connection. We are enriched by the presence of each other and are drawn closer to the heart of love in this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, our arms embracing. We honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We thank Lynn Didier, serving as our caring coordinator for the last week, arranging care for our members and friends in need. Jean Hansen has taken over for the next week, and we thank her for that. Sandy and John McLaughlin will continue helping arrange care for those needing services related to this very unique time when many of us have different needs related to COVID-19. Many of us may need additional care throughout this time, whether it be pastoral care, grocery delivery, or an errand run, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. We thank all of you who have offered to assist with grocery shopping, phone calls, and card writing, and we send gratitude to you all for serving our congregation during this time and in the future. Our flowers today are shared by Joe Lobel and Robin Taylor. They share this message. We share this image of flowers sent by dear friends in memory of Joe's mother, with grateful thanks to all of you for the cards, calls, and tributes we received in honor after her passing. The support of this congregation makes these trying times so much easier to endure, and we thank you. In this community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person's experience matters. Each person here has value. We lift up those whose lives are touched by sadness, by illness, by worry, or by loneliness. We revel in those who are celebrating joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all. May all of us find comfort, hope, joy, and healing strength in this community. We hold tight Gary Klein in our hearts as he mourns the loss of his mother, Eunice Klein. Eunice was 96 years old, living in Sacramento, California, and passed away on Tuesday morning with Gary's sister holding her hand. During this difficult time, we send strength and healing to Gary, Ellen, and the entire Klein family. Diana Clutton Taylor is recovering from a fall that happened last Sunday morning. She was released from the hospital on Thursday and moved directly into her new space at Cottagewood. All warm thoughts for her healing are very much appreciated, and we hold her tight in our hearts. Now more than ever, we need to reach out to all in our community to let them know we are still here and still holding them. We encourage you all to send cards and make calls to those you love, opening the doors of communication and community. May the faith in the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
Breathe deep the breath of life. Center down, find your grounding, find your breath. Take a moment to be still and pause. Feel below you the earth and its ancient turning. Feel above you the sky and the stars with their ancient light. And you here, held between alive and awake, know that here you are named and you are known as beloved, as sacred. I invite you into this time of prayer, first by sharing moments of silence together. Spirit of life and source of love, God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming. So much of the vibrant color of life seems faded in these days, and we would be fooling ourselves if we didn't pause and hold the realness of our grief, of our bewilderment, of our uncertainty. May that be a reminder for us far beyond this time, that joy and sorrow are always threads that are woven fine, moment to moment, breath to breath, that it's okay, and in fact a sacred practice to honor what we're feeling, to feel how we feel, and that while we proclaim and preach hope and courage, at the same time we hold the real grief in our hearts and the world. May it break our hearts open but not apart, so that sorrow leads to compassion and that leads to love. May those threads of love hold us together. And we hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, in body, or spirit. I invite you to bring to your mind the names you're holding in your own heart, in joy or in sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now, wherever you are, to speak their names. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may we be forever grateful for the fabric of life and of love that weaves us together. May those threads hold us all in love and strength and grace. These words of meditation come from Barbara Crooker. All that is glorious around us is not for me these grand vistas or sublime peaks, these mist-filled overlooks, towering clouds, but doing errands on a day of driving rain, staying dry inside the silver skin of the car, 160,000 miles, still running just fine. And I think of how my mother struggles to breathe, how few good days she has now, how we never think about the glories of breath, oxygen cascading down our throats to our lungs. Simple as the journey of water over a rock, it is the nature of stone to be satisfied, writes Mary Oliver. It is the nature of water to want to be somewhere else. Rushing down a rocky tour, the panoramic landscape boundless behind it. But everything glorious is around us already, she says. Black and blue graffiti shining in the rain's bright glaze, the small rainbows of oil on the pavement where the last car to park has left its mark on the glistening street, this radiant world. Amen.
Long ago, I settled on this peace of mind, clearing a spot for memory, making a road so that the future could come and go, building a house of possibility. I came across the prairie with only my wagon load of words, fragile stories packed in sawdust. I had to learn how to press a thought like seed into the ground. I had to learn to speak with a hammer, how to hit the nails straight on. When I took up the reins behind the plow, I felt the land threading through me, stitching me into place. Bright were the days at Marymount when the maypole was the banner of that colony. They who prepared it, should their banner be triumphant, were to pour sunshine over New England's rugged hills and scatter flower seeds throughout the soil. Jollity and gloom were contending for an empire. Midsummer had come, bringing deep verdure to the forest and roses to her lap of a more vivid hue than the tender buds of spring. But May, or her mirthful spirit, dwelt all the year round at Marymount, sporting with the summer months and reveling with autumn, and basking in the glow of winter's fireside. Through a world of toil and care, she flitted with a dreamlike smile, and came hither to find a home among the lightsome hearts of Marymount. Immediately a prelude of pipe and drums and fiddle began to play from a neighboring thicket in such a mirthful cadence that the boughs of the maypole danced to the sound.
Tra-la, it's May, time for our annual maypole celebration. Time to put up that great big pole and have colorful ribbons and dance around it and in the sunlight and enjoy each other. Come on, kids, you know you like it. Kids, big kids and little kids. Well, this year we're going to have to do it differently. But more about that in a minute. Some youth and some young adults in our church never know a time when there wasn't a maypole. It started about 30 years ago when a man named Mike and his good friend Jerry and their wives Stephanie and Elizabeth erected the first maypole. People came to church and saw it, colorful in the sun, fluttering ribbons, and it was big. Everyone liked it. We've been doing that every year since. One year it was snowing, one year it was raining. Well, we set up a smaller maypole inside the church and danced there. We can't have a maypole this year. We all know we have to stay home and stay safe so people don't get sick. Some of us can't go to work. Some of us can't go to school. We can't go to the parks. We can't go to the library. We can't go to a lot of stores. So what are we going to do? Here's my idea. Why don't we have a July pole or an August pole or a September pole? Whenever it happens that we can come out and play again together. It's been done before. One year we had a February pole to celebrate the life of the man who made the first maypole for us. So we can do it again. Stay safe, stay home. It's May. I'll see you dancing around the maypole real soon. Bye. This is Stephanie saying goodbye.
The little daily calendar on the shelf always seemed to have such useful bits of wisdom. Practical, sturdy things like the very shelf it sat upon. It was nothing fancy, just a month and a date. practical too, so it could be used year after year. May 28th, it says, bloom where you're planted. It's always a phrase that I've loved, a reminder to notice and attend to and celebrate the beauty and love and life that is right around us, or perhaps within us, something not far away you don't need to travel to. To find the nourishment of the near and the close, to sing your own song, live your best life, find the love right at hand, right in front of you, that there can be and most likely is beauty enough anywhere you are. On this Sunday each year, the first Sunday in May, we've gathered atop Walden Hill at the Maypole. As Stephanie mentioned, it's always been a beacon atop the hill each year at our church, signaling the return of spring, the vibrant colors of community and warmth, and for many, a season filled with thresholds, retirements or the endings of school years, graduations, or perhaps preparing for someone in the family to leave home. The reminder that our lives are woven together, strand by fragile strand, otherwise blowing in the wind, but rooted, grounded by our presence, by the ability to take hold of beauty in our very hands, to take color and life right in our very hands. The imagery of the Maypole, however, this year has come to me a little different. I don't know about you, but I have a feeling in this odd shared experience, even though we are not all affected in the same way right now, that is true, we still have some shared experience in all this. The imagery of the Maypole just jumped out to me as going around in circles, just round and round right now. Kind of like some have called these days like Groundhog Day, each day just spiraling into the next, not sure of the difference between today's charts and those executive orders or where we are on the curve. We're being asked, invited, to just go around in circles, it seems, to stay put as much as possible. Of course, we'd much rather celebrate with ribbons in hand, generations of families gathered on a grassy circle in the sunshine, and we will again, though not today, at least not in the same way. I've traveled extensively, wrote Henry David Thoreau, around Concord, he added, his hometown where he lived. Maybe you felt that way too. Some have posted about taking a mini vacation, traveling extensively right where they're at, from the living room to the bedroom, and then maybe a saunter over to the kitchen, or extending their trip over to the laundry room, or even the basement. But of course there is wisdom and depth in paying attention to the near and the close. There's a great satirical article right now, supposedly penned by Henry David Thoreau, mocking those who critiqued him for not really roughing it, for having his mom do his laundry, for regularly going back into town in Concord. And then the article says, "It's not that easy now, is it? Harder than it looks," with some other choice words. But a reminder that our longing for community right now is pronounced, and a reminder to pay attention to what seem like well-worn circles right around our home, right in one room, right around our heart. Those places which hopefully we can be right now, and I hope you are at, in body or in spirit, some place where, as the poet Joyce Sutphin writes, feels like we are stitched into place. Those places where our identities seem woven into the land, woven by memory and story and identity, kind of like the Maypole can feel, weaving us together, blooming right in place. I wonder if perhaps the poets ran the government, the directives might feel a little different, like an invitation. Instead of businesses shuttered, commerce is taking a breath. Instead of quarantine at home or shelter in place, what if the spring invited us to bloom in place? Or as member Angie Gupta said, to nature in place. We're invited to circle round and round in beauty. So gather whatever colors you can find, whatever beauty you can find right near you, as if you're in a spiral dance right where you are, rooted in whatever space is safe enough to hold you. And even if your life and your livelihood asks you or requires you to venture out for essential work or essential wages or food, because we know it is a matter of privilege for some to be able to stay safely at home. Maybe then the blooming itself is the resilience you have been forced to cultivate, and the gratitude that you have when you're out and about for every person wearing a mask in public, for every reminder that our leaders is an act of love for us to give each other healthy and necessary distance, for every creative, thoughtful, inventive way to show love and hope that has found its way up and out through the cold, hard ground of fear to the bright, hopeful light of compassion, of love, so that we can still sing as if we're dancing round the maypole. In my soul, the sun is shining. In my blood, the rolling sea. In my breath, the air of mountains. In my body, Mother Earth. So let's go fly a kite, as the children would have sung together today in church, and as Rose and Joe played for us. Perhaps if we can't travel too far to one side or the other, the direction we need to go is like the song invites us, up to the highest heights to fly our kite and send it soaring up where the air is clear. That's the type of air we long for. We need to send love and beauty and hope soaring round and round our own hearts and souls across miles to circle around those we love and miss, whether they be across town or the country or the world that we just long to be with, to hold. Across fears and uncertainties, to hold us, to wrap us in beauty. So go fly a kite today, every day, if you can, literal, as has been reported by church members as happening at Soldiers Field Park in recent days, or in spirit, like Rumi once wrote. Open the window in the center of your chest and let the spirits fly in and out. Open the window of your heart. Let those threads of connection that we can't quite grab right now, those connections of memory and song and story, the threads that you can't take hold of, but they are in your heart and they're the things helping you survive. Travel extensively around your home or safely around your neighborhood, around your life, around your soul. Bloom in place, which is the only way a flower knows how, and we marvel at them, don't we? As Hawthorne wrote about the maypole on Merry Mount, jollity and gloom were contending for an empire. I love that phrase. Jollity and gloom were contending for an empire. That's the state of every soul right now. And I would say it can't be an either or. Jollity and gloom are always woven as much as the ribbons of the maypole would be. To know that's okay, even in the midst of all this, to remind ourselves there is beauty, that jollity is still alive, because our faith is both and. We have both jollity and gloom, joy and sorrow at the same time. At the same time as mental health professionals would remind us that having too much positivity or too much negativity, both can be toxic. So if you can today, take a breath outside in the clear air as much as you're able. Take a trip down memory lane in real time there on Walden Lane. It might not be as crowded this year with people, but it is crowded with love and memory. There is more love atop that hill than there is space for ribbons around that pole, as messy as it gets, as messy as our lives are. Each strand and 1,000 more are singing and dancing up where the air is clear and holding you in the sunshine. May the vibrant colors of life take root and bloom like the sun in your soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking, yonder come day, O my soul. Yonder come day, day is a breaking, sun is a rising in my soul. Amen.